In the heart of the ancient world, a story was told, a tale of a creature born from divine wrath and human shame. It was a monster with the body of a man and the head of a bull. They called it the Minotaur. For centuries, this legend has echoed through history, leaving us to wonder, was this beast a terrifying reality, a potent symbol, or a memory of a forgotten history, twisted by time? The myth whispers of a labyrinth, a sprawling maze built beneath the grand palace of Knossos on the island of Crete. It was a prison designed to hold an unspeakable secret. People debated whether this monster truly stalked its stone corridors, or if it lived only in the minds of ancient storytellers. Today, we journey into the heart of that maze, to separate the myth from the truth that may be hiding in its shadows. The tale begins with King Minos of Crete, a ruler who angered the gods. As punishment, his wife was cursed to fall in love with a sacred white bull. From this unholy union, a monstrous child was born, the Minotaur. Horrified, Minos commanded his master architect, Daedalus, to construct a labyrinth so complex that no one could ever escape. There, the beast was hidden away, a living symbol of the king's disgrace, but the monster required sustenance. Every 9 years, the city of Athens, subjugated by Crete, was forced to send 7 young men and 7 young women as tribute. They were led into the labyrinth, never to be seen again, human sacrifices to feed the creature within. This brutal cycle of fear and death continued until a hero emerged. His name was Theseus, the son of the Athenian king. He volunteered as a tribute, vowing to slay the beast and end the tyranny. With the help of Minos' daughter Ariadne and her magical thread to guide him, Theseus navigated the maze, confronted the Minotaur, and defeated it. He followed the thread back to freedom, ending the dark reign of the beast. This is the version of the story carved into Greek art and forever etched into the Western imagination. A timeless tale of heroism against impossible odds. But when archaeologists unearthed the Palace of Knossos in the early 20th century, the lines between myth and reality began to blur. The palace was not a simple building. It was a sprawling, multi-story complex with thousands of rooms, winding corridors, and dead-end passages. Early excavators, overwhelmed by its scale, remarked that it looked exactly like a labyrinth. This architectural marvel alone could have inspired the legend, transforming a confusing floor plan into a mythical prison. The myth may have simply grown from the building itself. Deeper within the ruins, another clue emerged. The walls were covered in frescoes and artifacts depicting bulls. Bull-leaping rituals, where acrobats vaulted over the horns of charging bulls, were a central part of Minoan culture. The bull was a symbol of power, divinity, and danger. A civilization so obsessed with bull imagery could easily have given birth to a story about a hybrid creature, a fusion of their reverence and their fear. The Minotaur may not have been a single beast, but the embodiment of an entire culture's spiritual focus. Yet some theories point to a more human monster. Ancient rulers often kept prisoners, enemies, or even deformed individuals locked away in subterranean chambers. It is plausible that a particularly fearsome or disfigured captive, held deep within the palace's lower levels, became the seed of the Minotaur legend. Over time, whispered stories could have magnified this human captive into a monstrous beast. The labyrinth, then, was not a myth but a real dungeon. Beyond the palace walls, history offers another compelling explanation. Some scholars interpret the myth as a political allegory, a memory of conflict between two great powers. In this view, the Minotaur represents the powerful Minoan civilization and its domination over mainland Greece, particularly Athens. The tribute of youths fed to the beast may not have been literal, but a metaphor for the heavy taxes, slaves, or resources demanded by Crete. Theseus' victory would then symbolize Athens' liberation from Minoan control. There is even a geological theory. The island of Crete is seismically active, and earthquakes frequently damaged its grand palaces. The roaring sounds of collapsing tunnels, combined with the ever-present bull rituals, could have fused in the collective imagination. The ground shaking, the darkness of underground passages, the bellowing of sacred bulls, it was the perfect recipe for a monstrous legend to take root. Despite these fascinating possibilities, the Minotaur itself is almost certainly fiction. The first and most critical reason is the complete lack of physical evidence. Across centuries of excavation, no bones, no remains, and no ancient biological accounts of a real half-man, half-bull creature have ever been found. The ancient Greeks were masters of metaphor, creating countless animal-human hybrids not as biological facts, but as symbols. The Minotaur fits perfectly within this mythological pattern. The Greeks imagined centaurs, satyrs, gorgons, and cyclopes to represent the wild forces of nature, human desire, or primal fear. The Minotaur was another powerful entry in this tradition, a creature designed to explore complex ideas about humanity's animalistic nature. The labyrinth itself was a powerful symbol, representing political control, the oppressive weight of power, or the internal, psychological struggle against our own inner demons. It was always a metaphor, not zoology. Furthermore, the story of Theseus is a classic hero's journey, a moral lesson common in mythology. A hero ventures into the unknown, confronts chaos, restores order, and earns his rightful place in society. This is the fundamental structure of myth, not a historical record. The story also evolved dramatically over the centuries, with later writers adding new details to heighten the drama. This constant revision is a hallmark of fiction, not a factual account passed down through generations. So, what does the Minotaur actually represent? It stands as a powerful symbol of a collision between civilizations, the sophisticated, enigmatic Minoan culture, and the narrative genius of the Greeks. It embodies a cultural fear of foreign power, the dread of tribute, and the brutal reality of human sacrifice. It is a symbol of our struggle to break free from oppression, whether that oppression comes from a tyrant king or from the darkness within ourselves. In the end, the question of fact or fiction has a layered answer. The creature, the half-man, half-bull, almost certainly never walked the earth. But the story was born from very real history. A mighty maze-like palace, a culture steeped in bull worship, the terror of natural disasters, and the memory of political domination. The Minotaur is a powerful reminder that myths are not lies. They are truths, distilled through time, that reveal more about us than any historical fact ever could. The monster may not have been real, but the fear, the struggle, and the heroism it represents are immortal.